The village of Nkosini once thrived under the blessings of rain, its fields lush with golden maize, its rivers flowing like veins of life through the land. But now, the earth was parched, the rivers nothing more than scars across the cracked soil. The skies, once so generous, had turned to harsh, endless blue, mocking the people below. Months of drought had stolen the villagers' hope, and even the elders spoke in hushed tones of a future without harvest, without life. Mthunzi, a lean young farmer with hands callous from years of tilling the soil, stood outside his crumbling hut. His wife, Thandika, was beside him, tending to a small vegetable patch withering under the merciless sun. Her face, though beautiful, was lined with quiet worry. "What will become of us, Mthunzi?" she whispered. He took her hands, his grip firm but comforting. "We must believe the rain will come." "I will find a way," he replied, though his own faith was beginning to falter. As the drought worsened, the villagers gathered in the square for a council meeting. Boban Lovu, the elder whose decades of wisdom were etched into his face like deep furrows in the land, leaned heavily on his carved staff and addressed the crowd. "The rain spirits are angry," he declared, his voice grave. "For years, we have taken from the land but offered nothing in return. We must atone. But to do so, someone must journey to Mount Nyanga, where the spirits dwell, and plead for their mercy." A murmur of unease rippled through the crowd. Mount Nyanga was feared, a place of legend where few had dared to venture, and even fewer had returned. The villagers stood frozen, their silence a mixture of fear and resignation. Thandika stepped forward, her voice steady but her eyes glistening. "Mthunzi will go," she said. The villagers turned toward him. For a moment, he hesitated. But as he met Thandika's gaze, he saw her faith in him shining through her tears. He nodded solemnly. "If the spirits will hear my prayer, I will make the journey." The village came together to prepare him for the perilous journey. Thandika packed his satchel with dried meat and roots, while Boban Lovu handed him a small carved totem, a charm of protection blessed by the ancestors. As dawn broke, the elder placed a hand on Mthunzi's head. "May your heart be strong, your path clear, and your faith unshaken," he intoned. Mthunzi set off as the rising sun cast his long shadow over the barren fields. The sun scorched the earth as Mthunzi trudged through the wasteland. His clay pot grew lighter with each step, and thirst clawed at his throat. By midday, the horizon shimmered with the promise of water, a glistening pool that seemed to beckon him forward. With a surge of hope, he stumbled toward it, only to collapse to his knees as the mirage dissolved into dry sand. His breath was ragged, his vision blurred. Suddenly, a soft voice called out, "Traveler, rise." He turned to see a boy no older than 10, with skin dark as ebony and eyes that seemed to hold centuries of wisdom. The boy offered him a gourd of water. "Drink, and remember, not all that you see is real, but what you carry in your heart will guide you." Before Mthunzi could ask who he was, the boy vanished, leaving only faint footprints in the sand. As the sun sank below the horizon, Mthunzi entered the forest of shadows. The trees stood tall and gnarled, their branches weaving a canopy that blocked even the moonlight. The air was thick with whispers, and glowing eyes peered from the darkness. The whispers grew louder, forming voices that seemed to seep into his very soul. "You are a fool to think you can save your people. Turn back before it's too late." Mthunzi gripped the totem given by Boban Lovu and began to chant a prayer under his breath. "Ancestors, guide me. Spirits of the forest, I come in peace." The forest seemed to come alive, the trees bending and shifting to reveal a path. The glowing eyes retreated, and the whispers faded to silence. Mthunzi pressed on, his steps more confident. Beyond the forest, Mthunzi came upon a dry riverbed. As he walked along its banks, shimmering figures appeared, visions of his past. He saw his father teaching him to plant maize, his mother singing as she cooked, and Thandika holding their firstborn child. The visions shifted, showing moments of failure, crops withering under the sun, arguments with neighbors, and his own doubts and fears. The riverbed suddenly filled with water, its surface smooth and reflective. A soft, maternal voice spoke. "You carry the weight of your people, but do not forget even the strongest river begins with a single drop." Kneeling, Mthunzi washed his face in the water, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. After days of hardship, Mthunzi reached the summit of Mount Nyanga. The air was thick with mist, and thunder rumbled in the distance. At the center of the plateau stood a stone altar, ancient and worn, surrounded by carvings of rain clouds and lightning. The wind howled, and the spirits appeared as towering figures of mist and light. Your people have forgotten us, they intoned. But your faith has moved us. Let this be a lesson, honor the land, and it will honor you. A deafening crack of thunder split the sky, and rain began to fall, soaking the earth and Mthunzi alike. Mthunzi descended the mountain under the blessing of rain. When he returned to the village, the people were dancing in the downpour, their faces turned to the heavens in gratitude. Rivers swelled, fields drank deeply, and life began to stir once more. He shared the spirit's message, and the villagers vowed to respect the land, holding ceremonies each season to honor the rain spirits. Years passed, and Nkosini flourished. Mthunzi became a symbol of courage and faith, his story told to every child as a reminder of the bond between people and the land. For even the fiercest drought could not break a heart full of hope.